I'm very pleased to be with you on this International Mediation Day. I met mediation quite a long time ago, more than 20 years now. And in fact, I didn't know it was mediation at the beginning. And my experience is very much linked to the way mediation progressed in France this last 20 years. At the time, I was a baby member of the board of the Paris Bar, and our president asked me to participate in a non-profit organization created by the CMAP, the Centre de Médiation et d'Arbitrage de Paris. And they had a very good idea, having implemented this organization in order to promote mediation. At the time, I became a mediator, working with, for most of them, judges. And we were meeting quite regularly and telling each other how fantastic it was and how mediation was successful when we had them. We didn't have much mediation, and this lasted, I would say, almost 10 years. And in 2005, the CMAP asked us and asked me to go through a training. And I said, why should I go through a training as I am successful in the mediation? And they told me that it was a rule, a new rule, and that I couldn't stay mediator if I wasn't going through this training. So we went through a kind of mediation together, and I accepted to go through this training. And I understood only in 2005 that I wasn't doing any mediation. I had not been trained to be a mediator, and how important training was. And since that time, I understood that it's a real process, a technical process, and that the confusion still existing today between conciliation and mediation is part of the problem. But it's not the only one. Lawyers are convinced that they have to show that they are strong and that the battle is inherent to their activity. And it's difficult for them to understand that a client can be very happy with a good solution. The interest of the mediation, we know all about it, is that we can find solutions that the judge cannot implement, cannot provide. Because the judge, when we ask the judge, for example, who is going to pay the invoice, well, the judge is going to say, you have to pay the invoice or you don't have to pay it. If you have to pay it, you will have penalties. And he is going to give an answer linked to the request. In mediation, you can go somewhere else. You can, instead of the invoice, decide that other services are going to be provided, and you can just go in other direction. This is a major interest. And when you are trained, you know that you don't have to find the solution for the parties, but help the parties find themselves the solution. This is a major point. So what happened in France? Until 2012, it was most of the time conciliation, mediation looking like conciliation. And in 2012, we had at last a bill, we had instructions, and the judges understood that this could be interesting, that they were not a part of the mediation. So judges involved much more mediation, and since then we saw things going much faster. And today, mediation is implemented in, I would say, probably the majority of the jurisdictions. And the last one which is going to implement mediation is administrative courts. It's very interesting to see that it is not an obligation to go through mediation, but today judges know that they have to inform parties that it exists, and lawyers understand that mediation can become one of the solutions they have to suggest to their clients. So we are going ahead, and a decree which is not yet published concerns administrative jurisdictions. It's very interesting because these jurisdictions are, for most of them, jurisdictions where one of the parties, which is of course not the administration, quite often considers that there is it's unbalanced, it's not equitable. So mediation can restore the feeling of justice. And I would add that the most important thing is that through mediation, whatever jurisdiction is concerned, we have restored the human aspects of it, the dialogue, which is the most important thing, because judges, even if they want to do it, don't have time to listen to all the arguments of the parties. So when you go through a mediation, through the process of a mediation, you understand that in 99% of the time, the real issue is not where you think it is. It's somewhere else. It's not the invoice which is the issue. In fact, it's the way one of the party is talking to the other party. It's a letter which was, you know, the element which irritated the other, and you can really help both parties to understand where is the exact issue. So for this reason, mediation is what I think is that it has its place in the justice of the 21st century. About the statistics of the mediation, we don't have public statistics. They are not yet, it's not a ritual today. The only thing I can say is that before the social courts in France, there is 20% more mediation between 2015 and 2016. So it's increasing. I have statistics concerning the CMAP, le Centre de médiation et d'arbitrage de Paris. So you can see on the slides that first of all, the price for mediation. It varies from 3,000 euros up to 10,000 euros. Most of the mediation is less than 6,000 euros. When you compare 6,000 euros to the length of a procedure, to the price of the procedure, you can see that 6,000 euros is quite reasonable, even if you pay the mediator where you don't pay the judge. Second, statistics. What are the amounts concerned? You can see that for around 10% of the mediation, you are above 3 millions of euros. Only 15% are below 30,000 euros. Most of them, I would say, are around 1 million euros. Interesting to see that you have quite important part of it around this amount of 1 million euros. How many mediations are concluded by an agreement? 70%. 70%. Only 30%, in 30% of the case, you have a persistence of the dissension. Now, what about the typology of conflicts? Most of them, about 30%, concerns litigation among partners in a company or concerns companies. 17% concerns employment, 41% contracts, 4% inheritance, and 10% intellectual property. Concerning the branches of industry, it's quite various, but we can see that data processing, finance, insurance, real estate, and distribution, as well as industry, represents 50% of the whole mediation. And last point, what about the mediator's profile? Most of them are from the business area, 47% from the legal services, and 3% only from other professions, like medical professions or other professions. These were the statistics of the Centre de Médiation et d'Arbitrage de Paris, which every year provide its results. Thank you.